new idea to a lot of people. We don't know what it looks like, so you can look at it, see what people have sent in. If you hear something, see something that you think might be ageist, send me a picture or whatever, so I comment on that. And I have a blog. My main blog is just thischairrocks.com/blog, and I have been thinking out loud about all of this for a decade now. It's searchable by topic. You can find all the research on the stuff, all the research this is based on. 2 copies of the book, they're $20. I'm done. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if I should ask this, but this is more a concrete, practical question.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a social organization and they schedule dinners and they're only for Gen X and Gen Y, should baby boomers and above feel excluded?
Instead of feeling excluded, why don't you just attend the event?
Because you're being told you have to be a Gen X or Gen Y to attend.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
The announcements say it. Well, I guess it's not illegal if it's a private social organization and not a public accommodation or an employment.
I mean, it's certainly illegal to discriminate in that way as an employer. And it's not nice, and it's not smart. I am constantly urging people, and mainly olders, but also it works both ways, of course, to not stay home from something where you feel your age will make you stick out if it's something you really want to do. So that is an unacceptable practice, and you can point out to them that if you said, gee, you would never say able-bodied people can come, but we really don't want anyone in wheelchairs, or we only want black people but no white people, and that it is equally, men but not women, that for the same reason, it is discriminatory, and it keeps you from making friendships, from learning from each other, and it's bad for business. Do you think you can make that case to whoever is putting out the memos?
I don't think the organization cares, so. I'm just making my little gripe here. That's my big gripe. And this
I suggest you bust the party.
25 years ago when the special interest group said, got to be over 20 or under 40 or you're not.
The museums do that. They have, events for young people. I mean, it's not acceptable, and they can't keep you away. So I would bust the party, but I would try and do it with a smile on your face instead of a chip on your shoulder, which is hard. Hi.
Hi. Sorry I missed the lecture.
It was brilliant.
Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Well, I've heard of Susan Jacoby's book, Never Say Die, in which she describes how wrong about the illusions of staying forever young and the problems facing the elderly, such as lack of income, loneliness, and dementia. And she says how we should abandon the illusion that we'll be able to skydive on our 90th birthday.
Well, George Bush's father did, or was it Bush himself? I mean, you may be able to skydive on your 90th birthday. I don't want to skydive. Thank you very much. I have actually a detailed critique of Never Say Die as a blog post, which I'd be happy to send you. I wish I remembered more specifically what was in it right now. We tend to look at old age through the lens of loss and only see what we lose and not have it be apparent the things that we gain as well. Jacoby's book, I love Jacoby's general politics, especially when it comes to women's rights, is that we need a stronger social safety net to support all of us, and we absolutely do. A society of longer lives is going to call for investments in all sorts of systems to support us, but that is a broader based argument. It doesn't have to do entirely with with decrepitude, loss, and loneliness. If the most important component of a good old age is not how rich you are or how healthy you are, it's whether you have a good safety, society, social safety net of your own. And actually, this is one area where women tend to have an advantage over men because we tend to have stronger social networks. A lot of times men's social network is their wife and their work, and if they lose either one, they're more bereft. So the best thing you can do for a good old age is to make and keep friends of all ages.
Yes, you know, and I've heard this piece about how people who live to be 100, and there are some communities, like there's one in Sardinia, where you see 100-year-olds riding their bikes to work. And one of the reasons for their longevity is that they have a large community and a very tight-knit community.
Yeah, and rural communities, or anywhere you live, you know, in a small group, obviously there's people of all ages who come together, and the contribution of people of all ages is obvious to everyone from birth to death. So there's never this, you know, sequestering of people with handicaps or people who are retired, and you know, the community sustains itself in much more immediate ways.
It's kind of like half-baked sober with me. I notice generally, I think in society, a lot of people will kind of define their identity in like default ways, or like always they're born, and sometimes like something that like, you know, like defining myself as like female or by my race, or you know, even just like as like a student, which is like very default instead of like things that I choose to do more in life.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it maybe helps kind of defeat, like, you know, whether it's like ageism or just other types of discrimination, if you know, somebody in their own thinking or just with other people kind of like allow them to like define someone by like how they choose to be defined?
In terms of age?
Yeah, so instead of being like, oh, like this person is old, it's like, oh, this person, you know, is like, you know, like a painter, for example.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
just what things that they choose to do versus like, oh, you know, this is like visibly like something that you can't help. This is like
Right.
who you are.
I mean, I think of course, you know, it's double-edged sometimes, but I think if we could do that, it would be good for the reason, you know, even if just a thought experiment. I mean, something I've thrown out is the idea of omitting age from newspaper stories, unless it's a story, you know, an obituary or a story about a child prodigy. Reporters hate this idea. This steam comes out of their ears. They're like, no, it's part of the who, what, when, where, why. Well, race used to be part of the who, what, when, where, why. And we started taking it off. It's not there anymore for exactly that reason. It doesn't allow people to sort of stereotype and take a shortcut. So I think it would be great if, you know, sometimes, I mean, I do think about that if I have a friend, you know, why would I say she's Indian, or she's old, or she's in a wheelchair? You know, why is it necessary to identify them in those ways? That said, again, I think it is important to, you know, to say how old you are, and not strip it out of the narrative entirely either.
Yeah. Or I guess like another way of saying it, like would you say that it's maybe a more healthy mindset to not acknowledge, or not an absence of acknowledgement of those aspects of yourself, but just like not having that be your focus of who
Yeah,
you are.
I think it shouldn't be what you lead with,
Yeah.
because I think it allows us all, and we all do this because we're human. We have shorthand, you know, we need to, you know, we form instant judgments about every face coming at us on the sidewalk. We do that because we're tribal and because we're human. But I think when we can short circuit that and do the harder thing of saying, wait, I'm not going to try not to check off those boxes and stop. I mean, in an ideal world full of, you know, rainbows and unicorns, we would form an individual assessment of each person we hired for a job, each person we sat next to at dinner, each person we had a conversation with, and we're, you know, and we have no biases, and we could actually figure out in a super efficient way, of course, you know, what they were like and what you might be able to get from each other. That would be ideal. We, you know, life doesn't quite work like that, but that's, you know, that's the aspirational ideal. Yeah, last one.
Kind of tagging on to my question before about what you thought about older people being ageist themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit to an epiphany that I had while listening to this. I'm fortunate that I have quite a bunch of friends considerably older than I am. So I've crossed that bridge, but I will admit to saying I'm often astonished and surprised that these younger people are interested in having me as a friend. And that comes back to ageism.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we live in Williamsburg, and I remember thinking, like, I'm gonna walk in the store and they're gonna say, what's this old bag doing shopping here? They don't do that to me,
No.
I mean, there are always some people who are narrow-minded jerks, but they're not gonna be the people who change the culture. Most people aren't even gonna notice. And people who are, open-minded are gonna welcome you. And age, I mean, class is a tough barrier to cross. I think it's the hardest. But, but I think race is easier than it used to be. I see my kids' friends groups is more multi-culti than mine was growing up. And, age again, I don't mean to repeat it again, but your assumption that they wouldn't want to, I mean, another little exercise is when you go in a room, for a social event, try not to make a dead beeline for people your own age.
Mhm.
And it takes a little bit of courage, but most, if people are gonna like roll their eyes because you're older than they are, honestly, they're just not worth the time. They're not gonna be your friends anyway. Maybe they'll come around once the movement has, gained speed. I think so, I hope so. And, but I find those pleasant surprises all the time, and I thank you for that fantastic comment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the Mensa Lecture Series. Our speaker for next month is yet to be determined, but it will be held at this building, SLC Conference Center, on 15 West 39th Street, on the third Saturday of the month, November 18th at the same time. I hope to see as many of you there as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. It's really good, I promise.